What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Beyond the Junkyard podcast. I am your host, Junkyard James, and with me, like he is every Thursday for this live stream, is my friend Cody Marinara. My friend, how are you doing?
It's hot, but you know what? We're in the middle of summer, and it's the Carolinas. That's how we roll in the summertime. Um,
Yes.
but uh, I'm doing well, sir. Fresh off a great weekend of professional wrestling, and when I say that, there was only one show that had any. Well, sorry, two shows that had any sort of professional wrestling on it, and that was ROH Supercard of Honor and AEW All In. Um, Anything else is just Mickey Mouse, Clubhouse. Anyways, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. We're This week has gone by pretty quick. I wish we could go back in time and rewatch AEW All In. It was a really good show. We'll break that down later in the show. We'll also kind of break down the not as in depth, but we'll ask a few questions about the rest of the shows that were on this weekend. And we also have our big mid card meltdown segment, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. I've been stewing on this one for the majority of the day, about what I wanted to talk about. So, um, stay tuned for that piece. And then, yeah, let's give a big shout out to all of our partners and affiliates: WWE Shop, W.com, or I'm sorry, W.GG, StubHub, RSS.com, and then as well go to the Beyond the Junkyard merch store. All of those links are in the description. I don't want to bore you with all of that. Let's jump in to the first topic of the discussions. So today's show is going to really be based around the question of who won the weekend. And what I mean by that is, was it WWE's week? Did they accomplish what they um did they accomplish, did WWE accomplish what they set out to do this past weekend, or did AEW win the weekend with All in Texas? So that's going to be this show. And so we're going to start by talking a little bit about WWE. So they ran 3 shows this weekend: Great American Bash, Saturday night's main event, and Evolution. And I'll be honest, I didn't watch Great American Bash. Obviously, I was watching AEW All In live. They started at roughly about the same time. I did not watch Saturday night's main event because AEW All In was still on at 8 o'clock at night. We'll talk about that, I guess, when we discuss AEW, the length of AEW show. I'm sure you, who didn't watch it starting live, really loved watching the show into the depths of midnight. Um, and then I did watch the Sunday show Evolution, and I thought overall Evolution was a pretty decent show. I thought the main event was really good. So for all of those WWE people that say that I don't like to compliment WWE, I mean, like, you had a really good main event on Sunday night. You ruined it with the cash in, but that's for another episode. But the question at large: did WWE's counter programming, was it a success, or should it be deemed a failure in the eyes of the grand scheme of what last weekend was? And so I'm gonna give you the mic, but I also want y'all, if you're watching, go into the chat, comment your thoughts. Was this weekend a success for WWE? I'll let you have the floor, my friend.
Well, It really depends on what you really give the context of um, what's deemed a success or not. Um, I think that excuse me. Um, I think WWE will probably say it was a success overall. They think they got close if they didn't sell out State Farm Arena for Saturday night's main event. I'm sure NXT sold out at the last second. Um, Evolution got, I think, 6,000, 7,000 people into it, even though it didn't sell it out. Went head to head with Beyonce. The All Star game was in town as well. So I think they'll deem it as a success from a monetary standpoint. Um, I don't know if we'll know what the viewership was for Evolution or for NXT since they were both on Peacock, right? Um,
So I think Evolution was a simulcast on Peacock and NBC. I'm sorry, Saturday night's main event was
right.
on Peacock and NBC. Evolution was, I think, explicitly Peacock.
Same with Great American Bash, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So I mean, you're not going to get a full viewership number for Great American Bash and Evolution, but I'm sure they'll deem it a success with sponsorship money, things like that. Saturday night's main event, did a quick search on it. Looks like it did 1.4 in the ratings, so 1,425,000. Did a .33 in the 18 to 49 demo as well. I think that's pretty good. That's a solid number. I didn't do my due diligence. I need to go back and look and see what the past Saturday night's main events have done before this one to kind of really get a good comparison of it. I'm gonna put a bet and say that this was not as drawn as maybe the other ones. Could be wrong, but it's still a good number. I think WWE would be happy with it. I'm sure TKO is happy with it as long as they're printing money, and that's all that matters to them. If you're looking at it from a creative and a pure, from a spectator's viewpoint, I don't see how AEW lost the weekend. I can understand the show being very long, and like you said, I didn't start watching all until about 7:30, and even I had to skim through a few different things, and I didn't get done with that until 1 o'clock in the morning. And I had to get up 5 hours later to go play golf Sunday morning. So that was a rough way to wake up Sunday morning. But I had no idea how long the show was. I literally stayed off my phone, social media wise, or group chats. I stayed off of all of that all day Saturday just so I didn't get any sort of spoilers. That was tough. But I kind of went back Sunday a little bit and watched a little bit more. Some of the stuff either I fast forward through or just wanted to rewatch some stuff. And that's when I saw on Amazon Prime that it was almost a 6-hour pay-per-view. And I'm like, good God. If I had not skipped through some of the stuff, I probably wouldn't have gone to bed till 2 o'clock. So, and I'll have a thought on that here in a little bit as far as like the length of the show for All In and all that good stuff. But I think creatively speaking and from a pure entertainment perspective, I think AEW won the weekend. Although I think Evolution did a little bit better job than Saturday night's main event, in my opinion. NXT did good as well. I would say probably Evolution's NXT is a close one too. Saturday night's main event was a third on the WWE side of things. But from a monetary standpoint, both did really well. But I'm sure WWE and TKO are going to be happy with that result.
Yeah, so to answer your questions on ratings of Saturday night main event, if I'm looking at this right, the very first Saturday night main event, they were at 2.25 million.
Now we're talking like 24, 23, or 24, whatever they brought it back.
This was when they brought it back in December of 24.
Okay.
So 2.25 million. Then they ran another one in January, I think, that did like I don't know if this is correct, 1.9 or 1.49. The last one they did just a few months ago did 1.97, and and then obviously this one did a 1.4. So
Of the 4, this one was the lowest
right,
rating
but
by just a
with
few thousand.
right. So with that said, it was the number one show on all of television in their key demo. So here's how I look at it. This, if you look at it from a business perspective, which I think TKO will, there is this was a absolute success for them. They pulled in however many thousand people for each of their shows. They had SmackDown was ranked number one on cable on Friday night. Saturday they had the number one show on cable on Saturday night, and so to them this would be an unbelievable success. But if you look at it from an optics perspective, if you look at it from the perspective of the reason that they're counter programming AEW is so that they, and this was what from what I understand is the reason they want to counter program AEW pay-per-views is that they want to be the last thing that is talked about that day or that weekend in the wrestling sphere. They don't want AEW to dominate the social media presence. And so if they can counter program AEW, which is why they're counter programming Forbidden Doors, because Forbidden Door is going to be in England, which means it's going to be an afternoon start time in the States, which means they can run a Saturday night's main event and be the last wrestling show of the night. Which I think Tony Khan, the reason he made the show 6 hours long, I think was so that, hey, you didn't think we were going to run a long show. We're still on while your big show on Saturday nights going on. I think that's kind of what Tony Khan was doing there. But from an optics perspective, all the positive press Saturday night was, oh my God, AEW finally did it. Hangman is champion. And then all of the press about Saturday night's main event was, holy shit, they did Goldberg really bad. They cut off his speech. He had an okay match, and so I think from an optics perspective it was a failure. They didn't do what they set out to do. They didn't set out to be the thing that was most talked about in the wrestling sphere, and in fact in the surrounding days since All In, I've seen a lot more people saying this was my first ever AEW pay-per-view I watched and I'm hooked to the show. I'm hooked to the product. I think AEW opened up a lot of eyes to like, oh my goodness, this is actually what AEW is producing, not some of this, super polished stuff that WWE is going out. So from a business perspective, I would say it was a success. They did not have none of these shows that WWE ran had match of the weekend. But I will even go so far as to say none of the matches on AEW All In had the match of the weekend, in my opinion. The match of the weekend came Friday night at ROH Supercard of Honor. And if there was any reason to buy Honor Club, it would literally be for spend the $9 for the 1 month. You get 1 month for $9. Watch Supercard of Honor, and even if you just watch the main event, because I think they did a double main event as well. The Athena match was with Thunder Rosa was really good, not great, but really good. But that main event with Bandito and Konosuke Takeshita, I don't know if there's going to be a match the rest of the year that I think was better than that match. It was really good. It would be well worth the $9, and then just cancel your Honor Club subscription after watching that match. Maybe like screen recorded or something, that way you don't have to buy it again to rewatch it. I don't know. But that was the best match of the weekend for me. But the best overall show of the weekend, yeah, it definitely had to be All In Texas for AEW. But I do think WWE is going to paint this as a major success. All right, so enough of that WWE stuff. Let's move into our mid-card meltdown. And I told everyone in the Discord that I had an explosive mid-card meltdown that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to save my piece till the end. I'll let you get yours in first. Anything this weekend or leading up to it that you're just like, what the hell is going on, and you just want to get it out here on the pod?
On the sports side of things, I'm tired of the Commanders not signing Terry McLaurin. If they could just do that really quickly, that'd be great. Just get it done and over with. All right, how about that, guys? And I'm tired of us saying Redskins a lot more and showing the logo. Bring back the damn logo in the name if you could, but the logo is more important to me. Anyways, on the wrestling side of things, I don't know. I think that to me, it's a little ridiculous to have so much counter programming going on the same weekend. Between WWE and AEW, there was between Friday and Sunday SmackDown, ROH on Friday, Great American Bash, Owen, Texas, Saturday Night's Main Event on Saturday. It's now up to 5 shows. And then you got Evolution on Sunday. That obviously makes it 6 shows. There's a lot of wrestling on one weekend.
But I can jump in real quick, though.
Yeah.
That's not even counting all of the other shows that StarCast held during the week in Texas.
Very true. I guess we could count that, but I don't know. I just think that, listen, I think it's a collaborative effort from WWE and TKO to do these kind of programs for AEW. To me, it's just petty. And I think that we're going to get more of them. And it's frustrating. But I do give a lot of kudos for Tony Khan for learning from his past mistakes, not shitting all over WWE, but just talking about how great, this run has been for AEW from a creative standpoint, going to the smaller venues, filling those up, and then obviously having a very successful crowd at all in Texas. Pay-per-views always do well. Just continue to build up your product, worry about your product, don't worry about the others, because there's no point in that. But I think that at some point it's just going to get redundant and just old and ridiculous to where I'm not going to say WWE is going to lose any money from this, but I think that eventually it's just going to go to a point where they're just going to say, you know what, whatever, let's just worry about you guys. We'll let the other company worry about themselves. And I also think that with this upcoming weekend Slammiversary, people are going to tout it as a huge success. And I think that that's ridiculous for the fact that they're going to probably sell 6,000 tickets, maybe 6,500 at the UBS Arena in Long Island, New York. Place holds 18,000 seats. TNA is going to draw about 6,500. I'd be surprised if they get north of 7,000, but I'm sure it's going to happen with late sales and all that good stuff. And it's amazing how they were just at 2,500, 3,000 over the last number of weeks. And then all of a sudden it just spiked up to 5,000 here recently. But people think that Tony Khan bought tickets for All in London 2 years ago. That seems a little weird to me. Now, I do understand that usually people, if you don't get that rush of on sale, people the last week of a show, usually that's when you start seeing 10 days before the show, you see a lot of uptick in sales and whatever. But I still just don't understand the hypocrisy of not. We had the LOL TNA days for sure. That AEW comes around and now it's trashing on AEW and forgetting about TNA, and then TNA has this partnership with WWE. So you would think that would present the opportunity for them to get more exposure, to get more fans, to get bigger crowds, and Canada, they do pretty well. In the States, they're kind of hit or miss. And I don't know. I love the fact, I find it just funny that we don't talk enough about TNA having that WWE brand associated with it, and yet it's not as successful as it should be, could be. But yet people have no problem saying, AEW just went from a 28,000 attended All In to a 1,200 seat venue for Dynamite. Why? That shows how bad your product is. You can't sell out an 8 to 10,000 seat arena, really. And it's like, dude, shut up. Just there's a reason why they do what they do. Leave it alone. Those are really the only two things that kind of just boggle my mind this weekend. Everything else is just kind of funny in my opinion, but I would like to know what your rant is.
So let me add a little bit of content to what you just talked about. No, I completely agree with the whole TNA piece. In fact, I saw an article or something written this morning that's talking about NXT is losing its main identity because it's basically a extension of TNA at this point. And essentially at this point, it's basically, let's test out TNA for a TV deal. Because there are rumors that TNA is pushing really hard for a bigger TV deal, which kudos to them if they get something like that's awesome. Again, I don't want people to think that I don't want other wrestling companies outside of AEW to thrive, because I do. And what you're going to hear in just a minute may sound the complete opposite. I want these companies to do good. I just want them to stop calling whatever the fuck they're producing pro wrestling and just be honest with the fact that there are levels to this, and WWE in terms of the content is not putting out pro wrestling content like AEW is. And so anyways, I agree with that. TNA, good luck with getting that TV deal, but your show is a shell of what it was when AEW or when AJ Styles was running that company with Samoa Joe. And so yeah, I don't know. We'll let's move into what I have to say. So let me set the scene here, ladies and gentlemen. My name is I'm not Paul Heyman. Grab a seat, mute your notifications for a little bit. Listen up, I've got something to say, and I'm not holding back. See, for far too long, I've kind of played Switzerland. I kind of played it nice. Like, if you wanted to watch WWE, that's cool. If you don't want to watch AEW, whatever, I'll try to convert you, but I've just played it nice. But I think I'm done catering to these WWE fans, because I swear to the Lord, some of the dumbest stuff gets said on social media, and it really came to fruition today when, like you said, there are people that are saying the optics of All In being 20 something thousand to an 1,100 seat arena. They've planned this arena for months. That they were having this. This was not like, oh, Tony Khan dropped the ball. But yet, if they ran Allstate, or I don't think it's called Allstate Arena anymore. Is it? It is Allstate Arena, not State Farm. If they ran Allstate Arena and they ran 9,000 in a 15 or 16,000 seat arena, they're all going to be like, look at all those empty seats. Look at all of those tarps that they have to pull out. Oh my God, AEW can't sell out this arena, but they sell out an 1,100 seat arena, and the optics are bad. So I'm done. I'm done catering to these WWE fans. I'm done pretending that their product holds a candle to what AEW is doing. I can't play politician or diplomat anymore. I'm not here to rock the boat or keep the waters calm. I'm here to sink the fucking ship. And I'll do it with a smile on my face. Let me set one thing straight. I'm AEW through and through. This isn't just like something that is just entertainment at this point. Like, AEW came in at a place to where I almost was done watching pro wrestling because of how bad WWE was. I was done. I was going to stop watching wrestling forever, and AEW came in at a time that really saved me from to watching this passion of mine that I've been a fan of for my entire life, basically. And AEW has made it what it was. So when people are like, well, why does AEW fans have to defend Tony Khan or have to defend the company when it? Well, it's because we're a part of building this from the ground up. See, WWE fans don't have any skin in the game because they didn't have to watch WWE start from a low company and take over the territories. They just get to be benefactors of the hard work that was put on by these people. We have been a part of this revolution of building AEW. And so AEW to these hardcore wrestling fans is more than just a wrestling company. It is a movement. It is rebellion against mediocrity, against this complacent style that WWE likes to put out, where they recycle storylines and they water down matches and they cut Bill Goldberg's retirement speech off 30 seconds into the. I would be willing to bet if Bill Goldberg didn't wrestle for WCW for the majority of his career, his entire speech would have been shown. But I'll digress there. I'm tired of biting my tongue when people tell me that WWE is the gold standard of pro wrestling. I'm not buying it anymore. But see, listen, WWE fans, like, I get it. I know you're out there. I know you're clinging to like the nostalgia of what WWE used to be. I see you chanting for the same old names. I see you chanting while the machine just churns out predictable pay-per-views and scripted promos that sounded like they were just written by some AI algorithm at this point. Look, you're free to watch whatever the hell you want. Nobody's stopping you from watching it. Keep your Peacock subscriptions, keep your Monday nights, keep all of that. But don't expect me to keep pretending that what you're watching is on the same level as what AEW is building. The truth is this: AEW is hotter and more alive than anything WWE has put out, and I would say at least a decade. Like, I think the last really great feud that WWE put out was CM Punk and John Cena in the early 2000s, 2010s. Like, not the one that they just did, but the first time was the best thing that they put on in quite some time. Where, like, even I, which wasn't super big in wrestling at that point, knew about Cena and Punk. Like, it was pop culture at that point. Nobody knows who the fuck the Bloodline is outside of the wrestling sphere. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And so WWE is not as hot as people think. Listen, AEW isn't afraid to take risk. They don't sanitize the product. They don't treat the fans like they're too dumb to understand a storyline deeper than a hero versus villain round 47. They give you wrestling that feels real, that hits you in the gut, that keeps you up arguing with your best friends about who's turning heel. The matches, the stories that AEW is telling, they're not just stories, they're war. They're real. What we felt between Adam Hangman Page and Jon Moxley on Saturday night wasn't just like the climax of some Marvel movie. It was real. There were real emotions being emoted by the people watching the show. Real tears were shed because Hangman won. Real excitement because we no longer had to deal with the Death Riders in the main event of every show for the like we had since October. The fans are not just props in the background. The fans are part of the show in AEW. And so from the very beginning, AEW is not just delivering assembly line entertainment, they're delivering art. You see, on the other hand, though, WWE, they don't feel like they have to. They're just coasting. They're banking on this loyalty of the brand. They're banking on this legacy, which is why they have to bring back all of these old folks to get the people to stay and to get the people to watch. They'll trot out the same legends, recycle the same feuds, shove down those part-timers into the main event while the rest of their roster, the ones that are actually pretty decent, they're begging for their chance to shine. And you know what? See, I used to respect that. I used to respect that WWE was willing to do that. I used to tip my cap that they're willing to like press the nostalgia game, notice their history, tip a cap to the contributions the legends made to the game. But see, respecting it doesn't mean I have to stay silent when I see that this product has lost its soul. And I can't clap for a company that treats its talent as just another cog in the machine and that treats its fans like they're walking wallets. And listen, look, AEW is not perfect. They have their mistakes. I'm not here to say that AEW is the perfect program. But I'm here to say this. AEW is where the heartbeat of wrestling is. They've got athletes that pour their soul into every match, guys and girls in the locker room that'd rather break their bodies than just phone it in. They got stories that make you feel something, whether it's the rise of a star like Hangman Page, or maybe like that redemption arc of a veteran like Danielson or Copeland. They've got a locker room that seemingly now, since CM Punk left, is united and not divided by some sort of ego or political shtick. They've got fans that don't just watch, but live and breathe the product. And that's what makes AEW different. So listen, WWE fans, I'm not here to say you have to jump ship. I'm not here to say that you have to like AEW. Look, watch what you love, cheer for who you want to, but don't come at me with the same old bullshit of WWE is the only game in town or AEW is just some wannabe. No, they're not wannabes. They're rewriting the rules. They're in a totally different game. There's levels to this. AEW is the one proving wrestling can be more than just a corporate machine. And sometimes I feel like these people are too busy clutching their John Cena merchandise to notice that there's a revolution happening right in front of them. See, I'm done trying to convert people to AEW. I don't want to tear anybody down. I want to build something to be better. I want to build a wrestling industry that is better. I'm about giving wrestlers a chance to be their best characters, not to script them to a set of rules that they have to recite verbatim. It's about giving the fans a show that respects their intelligence and respects their passion. AEW is not here to compete with WWE. They're casting a new light, and sometimes that light may blind a few people. Those people may not be able to handle the change, but so be it. I'm no longer compromising on what I feel. I'm all in with AEW. And let's move on to talk about AEW All In. Why don't you?
Wow. Yeah, catch a breath there. Take a drink there, Sonic Man. You're like Sonic the Hedgehog with how fast you are going through that. Listen, I agree with quite a bit of what you said. Being an AEW supporter since day one, there's been times where I'm like, man, WWE was getting really, really stale. NXT was still doing okay, but then AEW was just the fresh blood and something new and exciting, and I appreciated it. And it's fun to be a part of something that literally you've been around since day one with, from watching the first, the announcement on New Year's Eve 2019, and watching the first Double or Nothing, and then Fyter Fest, and Fight for the Fallen, and then we get to All Out, and first Dynamite in October of 2019 in DC. I mean, being a part of that is like, it's cool, it's exciting. And WWE has been around for, if not 100 years, I mean, damn near close to it. It's always going to be the biggest name in town, for sure. But the excitement of knowing there's something else to tickle your fancy. Not to say it's a million times better or a million times worse. It's just something different. If you've watched WWE, you could watch WWE today. And if you've watched WWE in 2002, 3, 4, 5, and 95, 6, 7, 8, and 87, 88, 89, 90, it's the same shtick over and over and over. It is. That's the tried and true WWE method. That's their way. Heel versus babyface. And the WWE style matches. That's their MO. and why deviate from that when it's gotten you to where you are today. I'm not disagreeing with that whatsoever. Um, but obviously, since 2001, they've had a stranglehold on the wrestling industry, and TNA had a really good opportunity and chance to kind of be the AEW that it is now, from '05 to 2010, and then Hogan, Dixie, and Bischoff came along and completely ruined that. And TNA really for 7, 8, and 9 years just had to build itself out of a damn massive hole to not only gain the trust of the fans, but also just in general gain the respect and the trust of the industry again. And TNA has been a very respectable company. You know, I enjoy watching some of their product from 2017, 18 to 2021, 2020. But D'Amore was in charge. And even though I don't watch TNA now, I've heard that they've had some really good shows and storylines here recently, and it's good for them. Glad they've stuck around. I'm glad that they didn't just die. I mean, at one point in time in 2020, 2021, 2019, we had TNA, New Japan, AAA, CMLL, MLW, and NWA, and AEW and WWE. I mean, it was just a very saturated wrestling landmark. And you had your varieties and your alternatives of what you wanted to watch, what you didn't want to watch. But I truly think now more than ever that there's really just two alternates in the wrestling sphere, and it's AEW and WWE. And just whatever you like more of a show, watch it. Or if you like some from either one of the shows, watch it. I think by now we know what the style is of AEW. We know what the style is of WWE. And it's just one of those things that, whatever floats your boat, pretty much.
Right.
String along and enjoy the ride, pretty much. Yeah, it's an interesting meltdown you had there, sir.
Listen, here, this is the biggest thing that I have an issue with is you're going to have, and this is on both sides. Like, so for me, I still watch some WWE product because I don't want to be ignorant to what they're doing. So I watch what WWE's doing. I've watched Raw here recently a lot more than I had that I really honestly want to, but I watch it here a lot more recently. I've watched a lot of the pay-per-views. I've seen a lot of SmackDown. I catch clips of NXT. Like, I'm not saying I watch a lot of the product, but I watch just to be like a little bit informed about what's going on. But I'm gonna be completely honest with you. A lot of what they put on, like, to me, it's like really good background noise. Like, I could just scroll my phone and not really have to pay attention to what's going on the screen, because it probably isn't anything of very much importance, at least from an in-ring perspective. And so what I hate is when you have these AEW fans who don't watch a single ounce of WWE and they just denounce WWE because it's not their team. Like, I'm not doing that. And I don't like the WWE fans that don't watch a minute of AEW, shit talk AEW, because it's not the right thing to do. Like, if you're going to trash something, at least be honest with yourself. Maybe watch the product a little bit more than like the 20 seconds, and maybe keep an open mind, and don't come in with this idea that this is the opposition, and so I'm not going to like give it, like, go in with an empty mind, and maybe they'll blow your expectation. Like I said, the Io Sky Rhea Ripley match this past Sunday at Evolution was really good until the end. I didn't like the finish. I said that already once. I didn't like the finish, but up until the finish, it was a really good match. And so, like, WWE has glimpses where they can put on really good in-ring product. What loses me is this just hyper polished soap opera. Like, and I can say this till I'm blue in the face. I don't want telenovela. If I want to watch telenovela, I'll watch Mexican TV all day long. Like, they do it better than WWE. So if I want to watch telenovela, I'll watch the real deal. I come to watch wrestling to watch the in ring, and so there are different styles. But I just hate to see this just blatant disregard for AEW with the people doing it really not giving honest opinions. They're very biased in their opinion. And so I'm done coddling these people. Like, sometimes I read it on social media and I'm just like, I really want to say something, but I'm just gonna scroll past it. But like, I don't know. It's so annoying. And oh, why are you so defensive? Well, I don't know. Like, you shit talk on this product all day long, and then you get mad when we try to defend it. Like, don't talk shit if you can't. Don't stand in the kitchen if you can't take the heat. And so I don't know. It's really annoying. But let's change direction a little bit. Let's talk about AEW. All in Texas. During the pre-show, it was announced Adam Cole would not be able to compete. And so they ran a four-way match, or they announced they were running a four-way match, and Adam Cole's not clear to compete. Tony Khan announces it on a live stream on Twitter. He doesn't announce it live on the show. He does it during a live stream on Twitter outside of the pre-show venue. So I'm watching the pre-show, and I start seeing, wonder what happened to Adam Cole, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then 20 minutes later, the pre-show mentions Adam Cole's not clear to compete. And so I don't know what injury's going on with Adam Cole. I hope him the best. I think it's a concussion. And look, we can discuss that till I'm blue in the face also about, like, was it Adam Cole's fault? Was it Kyle Fletcher's fault? I think it was just an incident that happened in the ring. Like, no one's blaming Ridge Holland for breaking Big E's neck. It was just anymore. Yeah, like
time where, man, I did not want to be him for a while.
Right, but I think people come to the realization, though, that accidents happen in pro wrestling, and I've had entire episodes on this, like a year or two ago. Like, all the wrestlers know when they step foot in the ring, there is a risk that you're going to leave injured. Like, everybody knows that there's this risk, and AEW's style is very much a strong style. Like, it's not for the weak at heart. And so could you say Adam Cole maybe is not big enough to wrestle that style? Maybe. I don't, like, you can have 100 different opinions on it. It was just an unfortunate accident. And unfortunately, like, it may be so severe that Adam Cole may never wrestle again. Though I hope that these concussion symptoms kind of fade away and he's able to just take a little bit of time off and we'll see him again. If not, he's been really good in commentary the last while. I'm sure him and Nigel can be the injured people on commentary for Collision at some point in time. Look, Nigel McGuinness was cleared to wrestle. Bryan Danielson was cleared to wrestle at some point. Edge was cleared to wrestle. Like, I don't think this is the end of Adam Cole's career. Hopefully it's not. We'll have to see, especially with the advancements in medical technology. But that's on the.
I didn't even know that. I did not watch any of the pre-show. I literally avoided everything until the pay-per-view, just because I didn't want to have. I just wanted to start the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. So when that match came up and I heard it was a four-way, I'm like, what the hell? What do you mean a four-way? What the hell happened here? And that's when they kind of brought up the whole Adam Cole thing, and I'm like, man, that's weird. They announced this match all the way up until today. Why all of a sudden has this changed? What's going on? And Tony Khan gave a little bit of insight to when they made the decision to change the match and all that good stuff and not clear Cole. And really unfortunate for Adam. I don't think – I mean, I don't watch Collision as much as I want to. It's just if it's on a Thursday like tonight, obviously if we're live, I'm not watching it. Sometimes I'll watch it the next day. It's on a Saturday. More chances are not, unless there's just really nothing going on Saturday night. I may watch it. Otherwise, I just don't watch it. And I may catch some highlights on Monday or Tuesday and all that good stuff. But I know he's on most, if not all, the collisions since he was TNT champion, and seemed like he was doing a pretty decent job with the rain and all that good stuff. But I truly felt like Kyle Fletcher, this was his moment on Saturday, and was going to lead the TNT title into the next stratosphere. And I don't know if it was to get a good hometown feel, if it was to pivot from Kyle to do something different from a prediction perspective, or I don't want to say to punish Kyle, but
that's my thought.
I think so too, and I think that instead of what sometimes people will get punished with is we're going to put you on TV for the next 10 weeks in a row, and you may be on boat shows or whatever, but you're going to lose a bunch of these matches to humble you. Obviously, Fletcher was on Dynamite last night and won his match. But he may be the workhorse here for the next little bit and appear on most of these shows to say, hey, this is your way of getting into the dog and into the woodshed and just eat your humble pie and let's move on.
My thought process is this was supposed to be your moment. Let's push this back a little bit. We have to do something because you did injure Adam Cole, so there should be some repercussion for it. You're not going to win it all in. You're not going to win in the grandest stage of all. But we're going to build you a storyline where you're going to get your moment eventually. And so that's why I said on Twitter the other day, I think if you really want to go with Kyle Fletcher, build a tournament, because I don't think Dustin's going to defend the belt at Forbidden Door. Like, it would make no sense for him to do that, especially with him being trios and tag team champions on ROH. Like, let's have a tournament be built where Kyle Fletcher and all of these other people can fight for this tournament. And then at All Out in Canada, that's Kyle Fletcher's moment. It's a lesser stage, so that's the punishment. There's your, instead of 29,000 fans in Texas, you're going to get a 10,000 fan crowd, and it'll still be hot because it's Kyle Fletcher and he's one of the best, most liked in the entire company. But it's let's use this as a lesson. We're not necessarily punishing you. We're just delaying your moment. We're delaying you being able to get championship gold for a few months, as a way to say you were at some fault. And so this is what we're going to do to rectify that. But it also did give Dustin that home crowd moment, and he finally won a singles title for the first time since 1999. So, which
is cool, and I'm happy for Dustin, and that seemed like it was pure, genuine, real emotion out of him after the match, which was cool. Really, really good moment for him. Interesting to see kind of what happens now with the TNT title and how often Dustin is on TV, how many matches he's in, and how many defenses he gets, and when he does lose it. It'll be interesting to see how that whole thing transpires. But to kind of pivot a little bit and go to Adam Cole, I mean, you can't help but feel just awful for him. I mean, had that nasty ankle injury after Grand Slam of 2023. Finally came back and had his 2022. Because at the first All In, first London All In is when he fought MJF for the world title, and they had that whole better than you, baby thing, and felt like he was, back and healed and on a good run. And then shortly after All In, I believe he had a concussion and had to be out for a little bit, and then finally came back again, and yet again, had the whole breakup with Britt Baker, and now he's got another concussion. Just has not been a very good time for Adam Cole here lately. Actually, no, he had a concussion before the ankle injury, where it took him out almost a year for him to come back again.
Yeah, so I think in his career he's had like 16 concussions.
Yeah.
If I read that. So, like, it's one of those things where it's like I know Adam Cole loves the industry, but it's like we have the same talk in football with like Tua Tagovailoa. Like, there's a certain amount of head injuries you want before you become Chris Benoit, and so you like. I think he has to.
I mean, the only other thing really is if and when he does get cleared again,
Right.
do kind of like what a killer Karrion Cross does, and just you take the most less punishing bumps you can think of,
Right.
and that's recently became a pointed topic here recently. Is people are starting to catch on to how Karrion Cross bumps, and it's not your traditional wrestling flat back bump. It's it's just it's awkward, and some people think because that was because of his shoulder, he doesn't trust the falls, or it's just a way for him to kind of protect himself and not take as much punishment on his back and his shoulders. And maybe that's something Adam Cole can kind of adapt a little bit. I remember, I don't remember. I think it was maybe it was Brian Danielson's WWE documentary the day he was going to retire, or something. Something came out, and Danielson was saying how he wanted to transform the way that he would take bumps. He would basically just move around really weird, and he would fall down very gracefully and very kind of softly and just different. And it was to not get him to fall flat back and not, possibly get a concussion, possibly injure more of his neck or his shoulders. Maybe he could do something like that, Adam Cole, but at the same time, like, I mean, you got to do what's best for your health. And I know that I think his first instinct was to announce a retirement at All In.
Mm-hmm.
By cooler heads kind of prevailed, and he didn't obviously take the time off. Just obviously get healthy first and foremost. Secondly, if you're going to make a comeback, explore any and all opportunities of how to make yourself as safe in the ring as possible with the bumps. And, if you have to change up some things, try that. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, explore any and all options. But the most important thing is your overall health.
Absolutely.
So hopefully, best wishes to Adam Cole. Hopefully he gets well soon. When he came out and did that speech, man, I'll tell you what, the first thing that came to mind was not a concussion. Not that a concussion is not serious. It's very, very serious. And mental health and brain health is very serious. But the way he broke down in the ring and all that stuff, just unfortunately, felt a lot more
like life altering. Like he was about to like have a massive. It was almost like I think the first thing that came to my mind was like, is this dude like sick? Like, does he have a terminal injury or something? Like illness?
That's unfortunately where my mind went too, and I'm like, oh man, this is not good.
Yeah, they were really vague, and I know you said you didn't watch the pre-show, but it was really vague. They didn't give us any information about. Oh no, well he's just not healthy. He's just not able to compete, and I'm like, but he wrestled on Collision. Like, what the heck happened? Like, why? It didn't make any sense.
Looking at him, you didn't think he had any sort of physical injury, so it's like something doesn't look right here. Or sound right, but thankfully it's not that, and it sucks that he is dealing with this injury, but hopefully he can get better soon.
Absolutely.
Back on track.
No. So just for the sake of time, we won't go through every match. Like I said, this was a 6-hour-long pay-per-view, but let's talk about the time real quick, and then we'll go into just a kind of our favorite overall moments of the entire All In show. Like I said, it was All In was the main card was 6 hours. There was a 2-hour pre-show to start the show, and then if you include the media scrum, the entire day started at about 1 p.m. Eastern time and ended right around 9:30, 10 o'clock Eastern time that night. It was a 10 or so hour day for the fans watching from pre-show to media scrum. And it seems like a lot of WWE fans and people that I don't even know if they watched the show or not were complaining about. Like, I get it, a 6-hour show sucks, but I think if you go back before WrestleMania was a 2-night event, their WrestleManias were about equally as long, pre-show to end of the show. I remember when we went to WrestleMania 33 in Orlando, we were walking into our seats and pre-show matches were already going on around 5 o'clock, with the main card starting at 6 or 7. I know you missed Pac wrestle because
no,
you
I
were.
missed. No. I thankfully was able to watch. Was it Pac versus Austin Aries for the cruiserweight title?
I think so. Yep.
I watched that and then missed the rest of the next hour of the pre-show. I barely got back to our seats before the very start of WrestleMania because some douchebag in section 230 near that area of the concession stands wanted to create the slowest damn line possible. So I went 8 hours without eating anything or drinking anything. So that was a great WrestleMania experience. Camping World Stadium. Hopefully that employee is not there anymore. That was awful.
Yeah, but the show was equally as long then as it was for. I think people get like, and then if you want to be real and combine the 5 hours you get night 1 and the 5 hours you get night 2, like that's a 10-hour show for WrestleMania week, just spread out over time. And so my question is the time really that big of a factor? Because I don't know, for me it didn't feel like a 6-hour show. And I know probably for you it did because you started late. Like with this with it being an afternoon start time, it didn't feel like a 6-hour show. The show just flowed so well. Was the time really that big a deal?
Even though I started late, I mean, it wasn't until about 11:55 that I'm like, damn, this thing's going on pretty long. I didn't know it was this long. I think people who complain about it are either people who didn't watch it and then see the aftermath of how long it was and then they complain about it. And there are some fans too that are like, man, this was a long show. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a very long show. I love Tony's response to that question because he was asked about that on the media scrum. Does the length of the show bother you? Do you purposely try to go this long? Do you not try to go this long? And he said, for most of our standard pay-per-views, especially if they're on Sunday nights, we're not going to do a 6-hour pay-per-view. We may start at 8 o'clock, but we may be done by 11:50, 11:45, 12 o'clock. About a 4.5 hour, almost 5-hour show. For the fact that this was an afternoon show, he went long because he felt like it was necessary and he was able to do that. But his way of summarizing that was he wanted it to create a festival of wrestling, a festival day of wrestling, compared it to like Lollapalooza, your Rock and Rings, your whatever else, big festival concerts. And that's a great way to describe it. Is you start early in the day and you go all the way until the very end at night, and you get ebbs and flows, highs and lows of your energy depending on the act and depending on who comes up and how that act responds with the crowd. But you go all day with it, and that's kind of how he summarized that with this pay-per-view. Was he wanted to create a festival of wrestling and make it an all-day thing from the day until early evening, and that's what he did. And I'm okay with that. I don't want every pay-per-view to be 6 hours. I'm not a big fan of every pay-per-view being 5 hours. I think 4.5 is a good happy medium for AEW. But that's one thing that I was really hesitant with WWE on, that I do give them a very good credit of, is giving WrestleMania a 2-night show. I think that's the only show that deserves a 2-night is a WrestleMania. They've done it pretty well, and it's been entertaining for the most part, start to finish, since they've done the 2-day show. I would not want to do this with any AEW show. Let it be for All In, especially if it's on a Saturday. Go almost 5.5 hours. Just make this as big of a spectacle as possible. The other ones could be about 4.5 tops. But no, I don't think, it was a long show, but if you really watched it and were into it,
Right.
it wasn't. It didn't feel like
It didn't feel like
a 6-hour
right.
show. No.
Well, here's my theory, and prove me wrong. I don't know. Like I don't know Tony Khan's brain. But Tony Khan is known to be petty, and he's smartened up, and he hasn't been petty with his words as frequent as he used to be. Like when WWE would do something, he almost became Donald Trump, and he would let everybody know how he felt on social media. He didn't keep it to himself. Um, he smartened up, and he stopped doing that a lot more. Like he still does it from time to time. He is very interactive with some fans, and he does comment on some stuff, but like it's usually like positive stuff, not the snarky pettiness stuff. But I think he was petty here. I think he did it with his actions. He was going to say, WWE, you want to counter program me with Saturday night's main event? I start the show earlier because remember, this show was supposed to start at 8 o'clock and before Saturday at 5 o'clock. Yeah. So I don't think it was originally intended to be a 6-hour show. But this ain't you want to double book WWE events against me on Saturday and triple book with the Sunday show. I'm going to run this show long on purpose, and that's why he said it was a triple main event, because each match there was able then, as under triple main under the main event stuff, I think all the last 3 matches had 60-minute time limits. So I mean, yeah, the Okada match obviously was going to get the time that they needed. The Monet match was going to get the time that it needed, and then that main event. To be honest, though, the main event went longer than I thought it was going to go. I thought this would be a 30-minute or 15, 20-minute thing. Then they kind of speed through all of the gore and guts and forks and all of that, but it went a lot longer than I thought it would, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And so I think Tony.
Oh, go ahead. It's smart if that's the case, because I think maybe that also hurt a little bit of the Saturday Night Main Event viewership, because people were still in their seats watching the main event, not watching Saturday Night's Main Event. The reporters at the media scrum were interviewing Tony, not watching Saturday Night's Main Event. People on the way back to their hotel rooms or going to the after party at All In, they weren't watching Saturday Night's Main Event. Not to say that, that was, a million people, but 28,000 people in the stands. Give another few hundred here or there for the wrestlers and the crew and the media personnel. Quite a bit. People were not watching Saturday Night's Main Event. People at home could easily switch over, but that's one way that he, could have probably been like, yeah, well, here's here I'm taking it pretty much.
And so so I think that's kind of my thought. But the time to me, like, it's a pay-per-view. Like, I paid $50 for that. Like, give me as much action as you can, make it worth it. And it's not just to give me 6 hours for the sake of 6 hours, but he fit a whole lot in that 6 hours. And he gave the respectable amount of time, especially for those Casino Gauntlet matches. Those matches went longer than I thought they were going to go. And so we'll end the show here by I'm gonna give you a little bit of time to share your favorite, maybe your least favorite parts of the show, maybe some shocks that you got along the way. I'll just mention before that, I sucked at predicting this show. I only got 2 right and got 7 wrong. So on the main card. So it was not a very good night predicting for me. But yeah, what's your most favorite, least favorite parts of this show?
I think I went 5-4, so I was not great on predictions either. Although I still feel the TNT title match should be a wash, but whatever. Yeah, I was. The tag team match, Bucks versus Ospreay and Swerve, was really, really good. The tag team title match, probably my least favorite match of the night. That and and the trios titles match, is probably on par. Um, it's just I didn't get a great vibe out of either one of those matches, to be honest with you. I got both of the predictions of them right, so I guess that counts for something. Um, but I just didn't really care too much for it. Now I did like the turn with Nick Wayne and them against Christian at the end of the tag title match. Um, Taking out Samoa Joe at the end of the Ops trios title win match. It's like, all right, that's interesting. That's one less soldier after that. And then Ospreay got hurt. And I'm like, now there's two less soldiers for main event. Interesting. Um, the main event was we both predicted that that's what we thought was going to be. It was a smorgasbord of stuff. Um, but unlike another story ending match, at least the run-ins made sense.
Right.
Everything about the match made sense.
Right.
Okada and Omega under-delivered as far as the match goes, but it's hard to topple 4 matches before that. And on top of that, they're a little bit older, but Omega dealing with the diverticulitis thing. I like the direction they went with, obviously, Okada focusing on the injury and selling that. And I'm glad. I'm actually kind of glad he won. I did say on the prediction show that I felt he needed the match more, but I just felt with Kenny for the fact that, Kenny was on this big, comeback run and would take the titles. But I'm happy Okada won it. And, it gives him a much more, no pun intended, a much more elite star power now in AEW. His stock is rising, which is great. Very long-winded answer here, but my favorite matches of the night were the women's Casino Gauntlet. I thought they did a hell of a job. And those battle royals are a smorgasbord cluster type of thing anyways. You're usually not the best matches on the night because there's just so much going on. But I just thought that they worked their ass off in that match. They did as well of a job as possible. To me, that showed how strong that women's division is and how great it can be with the characters and the performers that they have. It's just a matter of giving them the TV time and giving them the appropriate attention to hone in feuds, hone in rivalries, hone in storylines. I love the fact that Tekla's now with Sky Blue and Joy Hart. I think that's what most people were hoping would happen. Now it is. That's going to be interesting to see how that's going to go. But I just really enjoyed that match. I just thought that it was so well done as far as, everybody got their stuff in, but it was just the way that it's like, man, this division is getting some steam here. The men's Casino Gauntlet was fun. But my favorite matches of the night were the women's Casino Battle Royal, the main event, definitely, and then Swerve and Ospreay versus the Bucks. A lot of false finishes, had the crowd into it from start to finish. The Young Bucks entrance was amazing. I laughed so damn hard. My wife and I both thought that the Bucks were going for like a pirate thing when they came out on the boat. and then once Excalibur kind of described the fact that they were trying to be like George Washington crossing into the Delaware, I'm like, all right, that makes more sense, but it was weird. But that was funny. Ospreay's entrance was great. Swerve's entrance was great. The whole aspect of it was just start to finish was great. Main event, obviously, got the winner we needed, got the moment it needed, and those are my highs and a little bit of lows.
Mm-hmm. So, I think the biggest. I'll start with the lows, and then I'll build to the highs. I think the trios match kind of under-delivered, but it.
I would have started with something else as the start.
Right. I would have started with, honestly, probably the Bucks and Ospreay and Swerve to start the night. And that's how I would have started the show, because you want to start with the crowd being kind of hype. And like, I think it was intentionally like the trios match.
Set up.
Wasn't meant to be like the best show. It was just kind of meant to lead to what's going to happen later on in the show. Someone did make the joke to say Samoa Joe usually does start AEW All-Ins. The last time he started AEW All-In, though, was in England when CM Punk beat the shit out of Jack Perry. Um, so,
Yeah.
but I don't know. So that match was a little underwhelming, but I think it was intentionally underwhelming, because it was more story aspect. I like that the ops, one, Samoa Joe's going to be out for some time, so the question would be who takes Joe's spot, and I wonder if they somehow storybook Hook back into the group. He kind of hasn't been seen in a while. I don't know if he's even cleared to wrestle from his concussion that he has.
Listen, it won't matter because the trios title won't get defended for another 4 months, so we ain't got to worry about it. Joe can take all the time he wants and come back. It's totally fine.
That's a fair statement to make. I also don't like. I love that Okada won. We kind of mentioned this last on the prediction show. I don't like that he has 3 different championships though, and it's
the whole aspect of that's just still weird to me, and I don't love it. But
and like Tony Khan said in the media scrum now that it's fought under continental rules, and because the Continental Championship, like make it one championship. It's really confusing.
That whole thing, I'm just like, all right, Tony, in about 2 months, you're going to either scrap this idea or we're going to do something here because this is now getting into a tangled web of confuckery, if I should say that.
Right, because I still don't have a clear idea on if Okada can defend each belt individually or not.
I'm pretty sure he can, and he can also defend them, but I don't. If he's going to defend both the might as well just say it, international and the continental, then it's for the unified championship.
Right.
Or else to me, that would make no sense to be like, yeah, we'll fight for those 2 belts, but not for the unified title. Like that has to. Yeah. So, like I said, give it 2 months where this is going to be probably gone.
So the logistics of it makes no sense to me. The match itself was really good. That was my most anticipated match going into the night. And I will agree that it did underperform the other matches that they've had, but it's hard to compete against those matches when those wrestlers were in the prime of their careers when they had those matches, and they're no longer really in the prime of their careers. Like they're kind of on the up and end of their wrestling time, and so that was kind of maybe also to be expected. The men's gauntlet match out of the 2 gauntlet matches was the weakest, but I will say a positive of both gauntlet matches was I think we only got one debut, which was or that one debut that we haven't heard of the wrestler before. Like Alex Windsor, I guess technically debuted, but she's wrestled in AEW before. But Shuri showed up in the women's gauntlet. And so what I loved is AEW's focus was not to use this gauntlet this year to bring new people in. It was to bring people that were already here back, or to use the people that were already established in storylines. And especially with the women's gauntlet, they built a ton of future storylines that can be built. And the men's gauntlet, they built 2 really good feuds with 2 tag teams, and I don't know if they'll build on this going forward in Collision, but Juice Robinson makes his comeback, and it seems like Bo Dallas came back.
Yeah. I don't know if Tony Storm made him shave his mustache and beard off, but that ain't true. That is Elijah. That is not.
That's a totally different person.
And it's funny how, his theme music plays, and we see the Titantron. It's Juice, and I'm like, hell yeah, Juice is back. It came out. I'm like, who the hell is that? And immediately the crowd almost pretty much did the same thing because they were all like, yeah, who the hell is that? Whoa, that ain't Juice. Who are you? But it was funny, but it was cool. And the Guns came back. That was awesome.
Yeah, so Juice came back. The Guns come back, and so Gates of Agony versus the Guns seems to be maybe something that they're building towards with Ricochet and Juice Robinson in a feud. So that'll be fun. Maybe we can strip the trios belts and let them 3 fight for the trios titles. I don't know.
I'll be fine with that.
And so that was fun. Like I love that they use those gauntlets to build on and create new stories rather than like it just being like the Royal Rumble where very few story creations are built, and it's more focused on who's new and that's coming in, and so I like that aspect. My favorite match of the night, I don't think you mentioned this one, was Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné. I loved that match. I was shocked at the ending. I really thought Mercedes was going to win.
Same.
I really did, and Tony Storm wins, and I love it. And I think I see the beginning, like I said last week, that this is now, I think, going to be the beginning of the downfall of Mercedes Moné. We have earlier this afternoon, Sapphire Reed of Rev Pro Wrestling saying her next opponent that she wants is Mercedes Moné. So I can see this happening at Forbidden Door week, where Mercedes Moné defends her Rev Pro Women's title, loses it to Sapphire Reed, and then maybe at Forbidden Door fights Alex Windsor, which was a teammate of Sapphire Reed. And when Windsor was in Rev Pro, and Windsor takes the TBS belt, and Mercedes Moné just goes on this losing streak of epic proportions, disproving everybody wrong about her having anyways. Oh no, she creatively had herself lose. Fuck off, everybody. Fuck off. Like, legitimately, fuck off.
The biggest show of the year. Like, come on.
But no, that was my favorite match, and I think that was the match you said that was probably going to be one of the better matches of the night, and it really did. The main event was better from a wrestling perspective than I anticipated it really just being a bloodfest, and then I thought I was going to be right originally when Paige.
We got that 4 spot. I'm like, good Lord.
It was like 90 seconds into the match, and I'm like, oh, well, 3 minutes in, and Moxley's already bleeding. This is going to be fun. And luckily, this time, Moxley didn't get the spike stuck through his back like he did with Copeland. But no, that match was so fun to watch. It was gruesome, but it was like you couldn't turn your head because you felt like you were going to miss something. I love the fact that Danielson was kind of cease and desist by WWE to stop doing the yes chant, and the first thing he did was, I'm Blue Panther, and so I'm going to do it. And it was the most obvious masked wrestler in the world because, man, your beard is very obvious. Like, we know who you are. I like that Darby Allin, while climbing Mount Everest, was still focused on storyline and pulled a promo on a video camera on his way up the mountain, and then he shows up and
fashion.
But like you said, the interferences in that match made a lot of sense. For Hangman's side, it was everybody that Moxley screwed over. They came back to screw Moxley over. For the most part, obviously Copeland couldn't be part of that because he came back during the Christian Cage piece. But
that part made sense for the fact that the last time we saw him, he got his ass whooped by FTR. Yeah, he lost to Moxley, but
right. No, that totally made a lot of sense. I like the fact that it seems like the Death Riders aren't just going to disappear, but it seems like maybe they're going to aim their frustration towards Darby Allin now. So I wonder what happens in that. This just created so much anticipation for what's going forward. And then we move into Collision and last night, and Collision wasn't, Dynamite, not Collision. We went into Dynamite last night, and Dynamite wasn't the flashiest Dynamite. It wasn't like the best Dynamite you'll ever watch, but it really did progress a lot of storyline or create a lot of new storylines, which is what you want to do in the first show after a pay-per-view is, unless it's like a mediocre pay-per-view where storylines are being continued, but storylines were being created here, and I kind of like the direction they're going. Because we know Forbidden Door is not going to be storyline driven. It's just going to be dream match driven for the most part. So a lot of these feuds, I think, are building towards All Out in Canada. I'm really intrigued in Nick Wayne's character I love that he's taking Kip Sabian with him. I wonder if Christian Cage convinces Luchasaurus on his side again, or how that works, if he's ever cleared to wrestle. And so there's just a lot of stuff that questions are there. The women's scene, again, I do agree with you. I love the trio of Tekla, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue. It's just a wonderful thing that AEW is going on. They're on a really good hot streak, and I don't know. I'm ready. Forbidden Door is always one of my favorite pay-per-views, just because of the collaboration with New Japan, and we get to see wrestlers that we don't typically get to see. And so I wonder how they're going to build into that, but also build a storyline for the next, I guess, regular pay-per-view, which is All Out in September. So,
now,
and then we're on the road to August 30th, 2026 in Wembley Stadium, when Will Ospreay eventually wins that AEW title.
listen, I may have been wrong on how the prediction side of things, storyline wise, came out, but I did get the Bucks winning and they lost. But I did have MJF winning the men's Casino Gauntlet. Heyman won the title. I did say that I think MJF is going to either cash in or announce him versus Heyman at World's End. That's when he wins the world title, and then we get a 6, 7, 8 month feud between or title reign for MJF, and then he loses it to Ospreay at Wembley Stadium next year. We shall see. That's the direction I think it's going to go. But two things that I'm interested to see what's going on and where they're going to fit in when they do come back is Jay White and Jack Perry.
Right.
I really thought we were going to see both of them on Saturday, and I'm kind of looking at it. I'm glad that we did the show, on Thursdays instead of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. It gives you a little more time to indulge and take in and really think about it. It's good that they didn't show up because, that would have been more returns. They probably would have been buried, and it just would have been kind of forgotten in a few days or a couple weeks. So I'm hoping that, oh boy, well, this is not what happened. I don't know if I'm live or he's live. Oh no, he's live. Okay, there we go. Wow,
I don't know what happened.
That was odd, but I'm kind of glad that Jack Perry and Jay White did not show up. Saves them for down the road, whether Forbidden Door, whether All Out. Could infiltrate with the Young Bucks stuff for Jack Perry. Could infiltrate stuff with Bang Bang Gang for Jay. So I'm okay with it. It just gives us something a little bit more to look forward to down the road. Hopefully they do come back soon, though.
Listen, if Jay White doesn't come back, can we get the return of cardboard cutout Jay White? Like that was fun. No, I agree. There's still wrestlers. Eddie Kingston we didn't see that at some point may be coming back. So, there's a lot of build up. I think Ospreay won't be out long term. I think he'll come back in a couple weeks, and I think that's going to set up a Forbidden Door feud with him and Gabe Kidd. And so we'll see. I like the direction because they started building stories, but it's not super obvious where the direction is going. But I like that. I like not really knowing week one where everything is going to go. And so it makes you have to watch every week. So but yeah, let us know, guys, what you think the best and worst moments of All In was. If you watch it, if you didn't, I think it was well worth the $50. I would like if HBO Max would start streaming them, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen, especially with the split of of Warner. They split Max to a different entity. I don't know what they were doing there. So I don't know when we'll get AEW pay-per-view streamed. But for what it was worth, the $50, I think we got our money's worth. And initial estimates was this might be the most bought AEW pay-per-view of all time. So
Which would be cool.
So I don't know when we'll get those numbers. It takes a long time to figure out what's because they wait a couple weeks, I think, to get total buys, including like day after buys and all of that stuff. So we'll see what the numbers are once those come out. But big success, I think, for the first stadium show. And I wonder if Tony Khan is working on, because I know obviously Wembley gets all out or all in next year. Is there going to be another stadium show in the States next year? I hope so. And I hope, because all in's going to be back in August next year, I really hope it's not all in, all out, back-to-back weeks again like it used to be.
I think they've learned from their lesson to not do that, but I do hope. I'm actually not against All Out being the only stadium show of the year. It creates more prestige to it, so I'm okay if it is the only one. I will say that I hope after next year that they stay away from Wembley Stadium for a little while.
Right.
I know it's a great market for them, but
right. There was also this idea that maybe if they want to do Wembley a lot for the show, maybe do it like every other year, and then so it's Wembley, and then the next year you can do a U.S. stadium, like preferably not Texas every year, but another U.S. stadium, and then you can go back to Wembley, because, like you say, I mean, the Wembley crowd, I don't know if it's going to be the 81,000 that we got the first year. So
yeah, you're just going to kind of dilute it every other year if you do it that way. But it would be great if they can just tour this all out or all in every year for a big stadium show. And it would be great if they come to Charlotte.
Stadium.
Yeah, that'd be great. I don't think they'll do that.
Hey, we got the All-Star game for soccer, so who knows?
That's very true. And I give kudos for the fact that the first North American stadium show was not at the Jaguars Stadium. Most of us predicted that, so kudos to them for not going with the obvious. And they may just choose to do, if they're going to keep it as a summertime thing, they may just want to stick to domed stadiums for threat of pop-up showers and storms, but also for the fact it's hot as hell in the summer. So we shall see what will happen.
Yeah, it was a good weekend of wrestling, even on the WWE side. Like, I saw some highlights. It wasn't a terrible week for them. Like I said, they're probably going to view it as a success. I see it as a little bit of a failure from the optics side. But other than that, we'll see y'all. I'll see y'all on Saturday with I'll bring back the weekly Saturday show, where you might get another long rant. We'll see. But you'll see the both of us together again next Thursday for the live stream. I would love it if y'all hit the like button, comment, share this, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you guys can know when a new video drops or when we go live. Yeah, all the other links are in the description. And like we always do every Thursday, I'll turn it to the man, the myth, the legend, the man with the most sauce to say the final words.
I'll tell you what, if this past weekend didn't get your sauces all sweetened up, I don't know what will. But even though you don't have the same amount of wrestling this upcoming weekend, there's still a few things going on. So be sure to watch, whether it's TNA or any other thing that's going on. Be sure to watch it. Support your local indie wrestling scene. Do all that good stuff. But most importantly, tonight, tomorrow night, this weekend, forevermore, always make sure that your number one priority is to stay saucy, friends.
So we'll see y'all next week.
Be